Are we spending enough money on innovation? Dr. Mlungisi Cele is the acting head of the National Advisory Council on Innovation. Dr. Cele, good afternoon to you. Are we spending enough money on innovation at the moment?
No, not at all. Our target as a country is we're supposed to have reached 1.5% of growth expenditure on R&D as a percentage of GDP by 2019. We are at 0.83%. And our investment is constantly declining, and that's the main concern.
At the moment there's a temptation to just spend money on the basics, to spend money on what we can use to get us through the day. Is that the wrong way to look at it as we come out of the lockdown?
Well, look, I wouldn't say it's a wrong way, because we're confronted with a global calamitous pandemic, so we needed to respond to it, and the innovations that we had to now utilize, we had invested in the last 10 years or so on such innovations. But, going forward, or as part of the post-COVID reconstruction and post-recovery program, we will need to establish a sufficient balance between investing on what is necessary now, but also in terms of the future, in order to build our capacity as a country, to make sure that we have long-lasting solutions. And we definitely think that investing more in innovation, as it has demonstrated, it was demonstrated during COVID, that as South Africa needs to have more innovations in order to stand a better chance to survive future pandemics, but also to address some of the basic social challenges that we are confronted with as a country.
Where are we spending the money that we do spend on innovation? Where I'm really going with this is, are we spending the money that we do spend in the right place?
Well, that's an interesting conversation in the science space, or in the science and innovation space. Some experts feel that we're spending more on basic research or blue sky research. Others are saying that it's necessary to build our own capacity, but moving forward, we need to spend more money on what some call mission-oriented research or strategic-oriented research. In other words, align investment in innovation with the challenges that we are confronting as society.
So, Dr. Cele, when we look at this particular situation, obviously we've got to be spending money in a particular way. There's also a big question around who should be spending the money. Should it be government? Should it be the private sector? Should it be academics at universities, which I suppose is the government?
The trend globally is that business is supposed to be spending more money on innovation. The ratio, it's like 70%, supposed to be 70-30. But right now in South Africa, if I'm not mistaken, business investment proportion is below 50%. I think it's around 40%. So if you look at comparable countries like South Korea, we need to have an opposite. We need business to invest more in innovation, given the fact that business is the major performer in innovation. And also innovation would help businesses to compete globally. And we have a World Bank report, or what we call a Global Innovation Competitive Index, which clearly demonstrates that those firms that are investing in innovation, they stand to compete better. And then that improves trade relations of those countries where business are investing more and more. And recently in South Africa, we had discussions with some of the senior officials at DT Trade and Industry and Competition, and they were sharing with us that some of the firms that had to be closed in South Africa, they found that they had not invested in new technologies in the recent while. And that's partly why they had to close. But of course, there may be other reasons.